And there we go. So welcome, everybody. For some of you who have been on for a few minutes, I've already introduced myself, but for those of you who are just joining us, thanks for being here. My name is Janet Thompson. I am the membership liaison lead for the Pennsylvania Medical Society, and I'm excited about this group today. So one of the great concepts that we came up with, we meaning Avery Crott and myself, a few months ago was to host these meetings monthly to allow our members and our physician population in general the opportunity to come in and connect with PA Med. Maybe it's from a membership perspective because you're not quite sure what your membership entails or what it gives you access to. Maybe it's because you have some questions about our resources or you're not sure how to find things. Those are really great reasons to come on these calls. The other great reason is because we always highlight either a specific resource that many of our members are looking for or connecting with us on. We highlight our physician leaders and we highlight our staff experts. Today, I'm really excited because we are going to have our brand new president, Dr. Lucas Fame, with us. And I believe, and she can correct me once I introduce her officially if I'm wrong, I believe that this is her first membership connection as the president. So we are very lucky to have her first. We got her before her schedule started to fill up. But Avery, if you can go ahead and advance the slide. And so one thing that we always like to do before we introduce our speaker or our topic is we like to pose a few questions. These questions are really helpful for us. And oftentimes they help those on the call maybe get a question answered that they had or that they didn't realize that they had, and it becomes helpful. So as we go through and we listen to Dr. Lucas Fame and we talk about some of the resources at the tail end of the call, what are your biggest practice issues? How could your membership be more valuable? And how could PA Med better support you, your peers, your practice? If you think of something as we go, feel free to put it in the chat. You can give it directly to me or you can share it with the group. And we will take the opportunity to either answer those on the screen, or maybe it's an opportunity for us to follow up with you with a conversation or an email after the call. So this is one of those chances where you have the ability to pick our brains, you have the ability to gain our information, and we have the ability to hear and learn from you. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our president. So Dr. Lucas Fame was just installed as the Pennsylvania Medical Society president. I think it was just almost 2 weeks ago. We get her first, and so we're really excited. We're going to turn the microphone over. I'm going to mute my camera. We do have a few slides, but we also know that she is open to discussion. So please feel free as she goes to raise your hand, put a chat in. Avery is monitoring the chat. We'll make sure that if she happens to not see the questions, we will make sure that we nudge her and let her know. And if there's time for open discussion at the end, we welcome that. So Dr. Lucas Fame, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Very good. Thanks everybody for zooming in. I'll tell you briefly a little bit about myself. I come from a medical family. My grandfather, my father, my father's sister were all physicians. So that has always been my heart and soul. There was never a time when I didn't want to be a doctor. And one of the ways I always start some of these conversations is that I often think back to my grandfather and how he practiced and how much and how important and how vital the physician-patient relationship it really was in his life, and how much that has changed. I think he probably would be amazed and love the technological advances that we've made in medicine, particularly in my field of radiology. But I think he would have been really quite forlorn and even appalled at the loss of the physician-patient contact that has occurred because of so many influences. Technology may put a barrier between some of us, but the financial changes that have occurred in medicine certainly have had a huge, huge impact on that. So I have three initiatives that are really three parts of my initiative for this year. And one you're kind of seeing on the screen, aligning your medical career with what matters. As physicians, all physicians, but particularly our younger physicians, want to figure out how am I going to practice medicine, and how am I going to maintain that physician-patient relationship? What is the best model for me? For some, they want to be in academic medicine. That's where they're comfortable. It's where they feel that they can make the biggest difference. For others, it might be more in a private practice setting. It could be a large hospital system, a small hospital system. So the question is, where is the best place for me to practice to make sure that I can deliver the best care for my patients and also maintain a work-life balance. And I think that's important for all physicians to consider as we continue on and face all these technological and financial challenges. So one thing will be to work with the wonderful staff at PAMed, who's going to be putting together with me a series of webinars and podcasts on various practice types. And we'll have people from within our vast community of physicians here at PAMed that I'll do sort of an interview with, having them detail, here's how I practice, here's how I maintain that doctor-patient relationship. Whether that's in the large health system as a solo practitioner, and yes, there still are solo practitioners. So I want to get that information available to all members so that they can see how other physicians are practicing, and perhaps that will help them with their decision making. The second part of my initiative is going to be to really hone in on one of those types of practices, and one I have great concerns about, and that is private equity. Private equity, we I think have all seen the impact of it in the news. When you have a group of investors that are getting together and they have one purpose and one purpose only, it's not anything hidden, it's profit. They are pro-profit, they are not pro-patient. So how does that fit into healthcare? Some would say not at all, but I want to be open-minded. Perhaps there are some private equity firms that keep that patient importance at the top. But from what we're seeing, if you look at what's happened across the state, you have what's happened in the Crozer system. You see what happened with the recent Sharon Medical Center. It appears that these financial influences that come with private equity are simply not good for patient care. They often bankrupt the hospitals, nursing homes, practices that they take over, and they end up, the practice and the patients end up with no medical care, while often these private equity firms then sell off the real estate. So I'll be taking a closer look at private equity, and I hope that people, that physicians across the state will tell me their stories, good and bad. I mean, if there is good, I want to hear it. But I want to hear more about what has impacted you with private equity. I will tell you that I have had some personal experience with it. I was, after being on the faculty at Jefferson for 6 years, I joined a private practice that I stayed with and loved for 16 years. That private practice was at a community hospital that was then taken over by a large health system. And then at the end of 2023, that health system sold my section of the department, I am a breast imager, to a private equity firm. I quickly saw changes in how things were being managed, with financial decisions being made more so than decisions weighted towards patients. I often now say that instead of practicing evidence-based medicine, I felt that I was being influenced to practice financial-based medicine. After only 5 months there, I was lucky enough that my entire practice did decide to leave that health system. And instead of joining just another health system as employees, we decided we would stay together, which was delightful. So we actually reached out, found some other like-minded physicians, and we're now a group of 30 private practice physicians in a physician-run, physician-owned practice that is partnering with the health system to deliver our healthcare services. So now that's an unusual story. Not everyone can do it. A little bit. We were in the right place at the right time. But the thing that comes out of it leads to the third part of my initiative, which is we really did stick together. It was physician unity. And that is a huge part, perhaps in the grand scheme of things, the most important part of my initiative is physicians working together, staying together, building their practices together, something that has been lost. But I am not ready to say that it has no place anymore in medicine. I think we can bring it back to some degree if we have the right mindset, that we together are stronger. Now, there's often talk that we are so few in number compared to lawyers, compared to administrators, legislators. Well, there can be strength in numbers. And in the case of my practice, you can talk a little bit about a supply and demand issue. In the end, healthcare doesn't run without us. We are the ones who trained. We are the ones that know how to care for our patients. And as much as we are outnumbered, we are also often very, very much needed, or it just doesn't work. So I hope that as this third part of my initiative, that we can re-energize physician unity and work together to be stronger together and maybe get some hold back, at least in some part, on our healthcare system that has been just overrun with financial instances. So those are the three parts of my initiative. Again, aligning your medical career with what matters. Two, a closer look at private equity. And let me add one other thing on that before I turn everything over for questions, is that there are, I'm not the only one who's noticed it. I'm sure all of you have noticed it. Legislators have noticed it too. There will, at a national level, there was a US Senate report that talked about the harms of private equity. At the state level, there are Pennsylvania legislators who will be introducing legislation to get some guardrails around this private equity, some type of oversight. Not that we cannot stop financial concerns, certainly not in this country where that's part of the fabric of this country, but we certainly can have some oversight to make sure that we're not getting financial institutions that don't take healthcare, who take healthcare for granted and just see it as a profit-making enterprise as opposed to something where you have to care for patients. The second part is the closer look at private equity, and the third part is physician unity. I know I talk fast, but that's to save time for questions. So, please, thank you for listening.
So it does look, and Avery, just for the screen purposes, if you don't mind unsharing while we have a discussion, that would allow people's faces to be a little bit bigger. We do have a thought, and Dr. Cavalli, I don't know if you would like to ask the question yourself or if you'd like for me to read it, but we do have a few of our other PA Med leaders on the call today. So for those of you, welcome. Thank you for being here. And by all means, please feel free to unmute yourself and join in the conversation as we go. But Dr. Cavalli, I'm happy to read your question unless if you'd like to share it yourself.
I see your question, Arvin. Do you want to read it? Go ahead.
So it was just a general question, right? And, we have the size and we have the reach. How do we make it, more effective statewide? It's an open question. I think, I'm not familiar with some of the members that have joined. So maybe it might be a good idea for some people to kind of give their opinions and where they come from, things like that.
I love that. Would like everybody's opinions on this, the best way to do it. I will tell you one thing that happens, should we be lucky enough, and I'll be going to Harrisburg when that legislation is introduced to try and show some support to make sure it gets through, but it's all about communication and supporting. So should that legislation actually hit, first it'll go to committee, let's hope it comes out. And if it goes to the floor where it's going to have a vote, that would be the time when our wonderful 11,000 members could make a difference. Because if we get the right communication out via the dose, via all these tools that we have at PMed, and everybody writes into the legislator saying, this is important. If we have 11,000 people strong, maybe something can be done. But let me turn it over. I want to hear from membership. Please, your ideas.
I'll jump in. Hi, my name is Anna Davitt. This is my first membership matters connection call. Actually, I just joined Pennsylvania Medical Society. I am an emergency medicine physician by background, and I am now the CMO of 2 community hospitals outside of Philadelphia. And I've tried to make it a priority this year to get more involved with advocacy, joining the Hospital and Healthcare Association of Pennsylvania. And I also think that Kristen Sandell did a wonderful job speaking at a dinner that I went to last year about the efforts that the Pennsylvania Medical Society has engaged in. And I wasn't really aware of it until I went to that dinner. And I do really think that advocacy, making our voice heard in opposition to the other very loud, very strong lobbies that are getting their way is really, really important. I was on a call yesterday with the HAP, and someone there was speaking with the disconnect between what our physicians know that the politicians in Pennsylvania know nothing about. So I think that, advocacy regarding private equity is hugely important, and all of these other, initiatives, if we pick our most important ones, I'd be happy to join you in Harrisburg to lend my voice. But I think that connection, I would love to see that connection stronger.
Thank you.
And if I could interrupt really quick, we do have another chat, and I feel like it's relevant simply because it too is emergency medicine. So in emergency medicine, these large contract groups have been putting a lot of pressure on the individual practitioner. So that's a comment that I thought might be relevant to put out there as thank you for our new member for speaking up, and welcome to our call today.
Thank you. Yes, and I worked at Crozier until 2020. And so I was there, when Prospect owned it, and they sold the real estate out from underneath Crozier. And then they came in and Team Health started staffing the ER there. So it was 2 private equity backed groups kind of on top of each other, on top of me, on top of the patient in the ER, trying to take care of patients. And it's absolutely true that, the individual practitioner loses their agency and their ability to care for the patient properly when you have these pressures weighing down on you.
And absolutely true. And I certainly don't want any physician who's put in that position to think they're responsible. I mean, they're not. They're caught up in the mess of it. One thing that I would hope can happen, though, that there are, I was fortunate. There was a moment, just because of timing, where we were in a position where we could make that decision to say, we're not going to become employed physicians and we're not going to work for private equity. Not everybody has that choice. But I hope in getting the message out there that when those opportunities occur, that physicians will look to each other for a remedy, instead of, just in a sense, giving up and saying, hey, this is the way things are going now. Not necessarily. And particularly now that the media and everyone else is seeing the harms. There's one article I read by an academic, and it called private equity the vampires of healthcare. So everybody's seeing it. I think this is a moment where we can, if we just do stick together, we might be able to make a little dent on this one, and if we can get this legislation through that will call for oversight by the Attorney General before any more of these Crozier and Sharon medical centers occur, I think we can make a difference, and we are 11,000 strong. And I'm not going to look at that 11,000 small. I'm looking at 11,000 big. So that's the hope.
A couple points, Lynn and Anna. Thanks for joining. Lynn and I are both in your neighborhood, so please feel free to connect with us. Janet can, give you our emails if necessary. We certainly want to see 2 things happen. One is while we go at it from what Lynn says, in terms of Harrisburg trying to regulate the private equity, we should also look into why private equity is so attractive in healthcare. What's the reason that private equity people, so many people are looking for private equity to bail them out? And you're coming from a leadership position in a hospital setting. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think about that. Because unless we solve, as a medical condition, we always like to see the source of the problem other than just treat the end result. And I'd love to see what the source of this problem is.
Yeah. Well, I do think that there are, in my area, which is outside of Philadelphia, I'm in Pottstown and Phoenixville Hospital. Most of the hospitals here are operating on a razor thin margin, or they're in the red. And so it's very difficult to, stay viable. And luckily, there was an article today in the Philadelphia Business Journal about the outgoing CEO, Sue Parati. She had a wealth of financial experience, and she was able to turn the hospital system around and save it. And also, she knew from her experience that bigger is not always better. Private equity is not good in all in all industries. And so we had a strong leader, in the very top of the C-suite, who said, we will not let private equity come into our health system. And so I do think that leaders, we have to have the right leaders in these health systems, in these hospitals, to be able to have the financial acumen to say, okay, we can keep the doors open and the lights on without resorting to private equity to come in and scoop us up.
Yeah, they do come in and say, look, we can manage it for you. We can infuse some money. And I'll just be honest, they also will, for some practices, the people who are the partners, they'll offer them a handsome sum if they will sell the practice. And again, I'm not going to play the blame game with my fellow physicians, but these are all things that do give them a way through the door when those things happen. So we need to make it more, a better sense of there's a different way to do it. I'll tell you one more thing in my particular situation that was interesting. The group that we actually replaced, and I'm at the Trinity Health System now, the group that we replaced there, again, the group that we formed a private practice group, but the group we replaced here at Trinity was actually private equity. And the CEO of the hospital, again, decided it was time for them to replace that private equity group. And we actually did replace them. So I see it. There is hope out there. There is hope out there. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy by any means, but I think we can make a difference if we can find that little string of physician unity and see what's happening to so many places. And I do need more stories. I know this is I've gotten a few emails and stories about what's happening on a smaller level to physicians, not just the big, like the whole kosher system or the share. Individual physicians are just being destroyed by this. So,
yes. Yeah. Do you do outreach or advocacy with medical students or residents in the Pennsylvania Medical Society?
are you asking, you want to take that, Janet, or I mean, I just met with in Philly at the College of Physicians, and we had lots of students there. It was great. But
Yes,
please, Janet,
and I will add to that. So yes, the Pennsylvania Medical Society has categories of membership for medical students who are enrolled in a Pennsylvania medical school. So at the present time, we've got 11. We also have a category of membership for residents and fellows. Those all of those professionals, they fall into primarily our MSS or our RFS sections, so our medical student or our resident and fellow sections. And at any time, and we will send out follow-up. At any time, you are welcome to share any of those opportunities with myself and my colleague Avery. We staff both of those special sections, and we can get your folks connected to our section leadership, or maybe we get them involved from a local perspective, because we also work with our county medical societies along with the student and the resident groups. And so that is an initiative that we are planning to forge ahead with in 2025 and do some of those communications and engagements a little bit differently for those members, just to get them a little bit more engaged, a little bit more informed, and a little bit more active. So, and we look forward to doing that with our current leadership based on your platform and on your initiative for 2025.
Great.
And anyone out there who knows students who might want to get involved, I mean, send them our way and tell us what we need to do to get their interest. Let, you know.
And one of the benefits for those younger members as well, their membership is $5 for students, so it's a very affordable ask. It doesn't break their bank. And because of the way we have the section set up for the students, there is a group of students at each school, with the exception of Duquesne, simply because Duquesne just started. We're working on forming that relationship now. But at each school, there is a group of students who are already active. They are aware, and they're able to mentor their peers and get them involved as well. So they've got that local component, the county component in many cases, as well as PA Med. Wonderful. Do we have any other questions or comments that we want to spend some time with? We've got two really great leaders here. I also see Dr. Della Vecchia is on the call. I don't know, Dr. Della Vecchia, if you wanted to say a few words as one of our leaders as well, you are welcome to do that. And while we are waiting, we also have another chat. I've been a member since medical school at Temple, but I'm encouraged that you will make the effort to engage. Thank you. That is something that it's somewhat challenging to engage with our students because obviously their schedules are very busy. There's a lot of them in Pennsylvania. There's a huge number of students. We've got the ability to grow. And one of the things that we are going to ask our school representatives to do this year is to really help us get involved in their club fairs or some of their student engagement functions where we can show up and hopefully find a way to get them to become members, because once they are, they see the value, and then they learn and they're able to become active. How can a physician become more involved? I don't know if any of our leaders want to take that before I do. You're welcome to answer that question, because obviously both of you are not only in leadership positions now, you both have been on our board for a very long time. If you'd like to take that question and I can fill in the blanks, that would be great.
So I would say it's easier than you think, because I know I've had people say, how can I get involved? I said, well, you're interested? I'm going to give your name to so-and-so, and they're going to reach out to you. And is there any particular committee or task force, whatever? Step one is just saying, and it could be, you can click on the connect with me, or you can tell Janet, or you can tell whatever. And when I say connect with me, that's like on the website. It's got like all our pictures, and you could click the button or Janet or whatever, and say, I want to be more involved. And then let us know how you want to be involved. We have so many different committees, task force. It could be, reaching out to legislators. It could be, there are so many different ways. Step one is really just saying, I am willing to be involved. I guarantee you, we will reach out to you and involve you. Am I over speaking there, Janet, or not?
You're not over speaking at all. And the only thing that I will add, you did a fantastic job. Very good. The only thing that I will add, in addition to the Connect with Us now, we instituted that a few years ago on our website. It is a fantastic way for you. Maybe you've gone to a meeting, you're not sure who your district trustee or your specialty trustee is. You can go to our website and there's pictures. So if you remember their face but not their name, you're able to find them. If you're not sure who they were because maybe you only heard them, you didn't see them, you're able to look and identify who our elected board leaders are. And to the point that was made, you can click the button that says connect with me and they'll get an email. Additionally, there is, and I believe we're doing some changes on our website. I believe it's on the front page of our website, and it currently says, I want to be a leader. And some people are afraid to click that entry because they're afraid all of a sudden they're going to be committed for this really long term. And that doesn't have to be the case. When you fill out that form, you put your interests in. So absolutely reaching out to a leader and saying, I would like to do this, this, and this, or reaching out to one of the staff people. If you don't know who to reach out to, you can fill out the form. That form goes into our executive office, and our executive office distributes it accordingly, depending on what the interest is. So if I want to be involved with the students, that would come to myself and Avery, where we would then work with that individual to find a place to fit you. Maybe it's, I really want to do task force, or I want to be involved politically. We would send those accordingly. Many times too, one thing, and this is hard to conceptualize because it's not a concrete answer, but sometimes we have connections with our members and we take a step back and we say, wow, that person would be fantastic on a committee, but we don't have a space for them now. So we've got a way from a staff perspective to add you to a list. And so if you come to me and say, hey, if anything ever comes to be about XYZ, I would really love to be a part of that or be considered. And we're able to mark that in our platform and in our tracking system that we can then connect you. In fact, we got an email regarding a position on like a PennDOT task force yesterday, where they reach out to membership and say, hey, do you know anybody who might fit this description? Sometimes they ask for a specific specialty. Sometimes they're looking for someone who is fresh and new in their practice. Sometimes they're looking for seasoned. So absolutely taking Dr. Lucas Fame's suggestions of reaching out to the leader that you know, or the county that you are connected to, or a staff person that you are aware of. Reaching out to us, we can put you where you belong. I often say that about our general inquiry form. You can send a question and you might not know the right words, and you might not know the department, and you don't know where to take that. That's our job. And we get to take that burden off of you and put you where you need to be so that you can get the answers or the opportunities that you're looking for.
One more add, Janet. I guess all the members here, all the attendees here are members, I'm assuming, currently?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Okay. So as members, you can also plan to attend the House of Delegates, which is an annual event, and it's usually the 3rd or 4th weekend of October. So you have plenty of time to plan for it. I think it's a Friday and Saturday event, and there's a lot of activity on a Friday afternoon, which is CME and other interactive sessions. And on Saturday, you can certainly, participate or observe the more traditional or business side of the meeting, which is discussing the resolutions and etc. So certainly, and then in the coming years, you can certainly participate in your local county or section as a delegate to the House of Delegates. So that would be another active way of involving yourself.
And I actually, Dr. Cavalli, as soon as you started to talk, I asked Avery to share our screen. This is a slide we were going to use, so pardon the interrupt, if you will. But we were going to share this slide towards the end of the call. I think it's really relevant. In addition to Dr. Cavalli's leadership position with PA Med as a whole, Dr. Cavalli has been very engaged in our IMG, our International Medical Graduate section. So I briefly mentioned MSS and I briefly mentioned RFS. We have now 7 groups that our members can fit into, and you don't have to join them per se. If you qualify for them, you are part of that group, and you can so choose to become active if you desire. So in addition to the ones we've already talked about, we also have early career physician section, which is physicians up to the age of 40 or in their first 5 years of practice. We've got the WPS, which is our women physician section. We have our IPPS, which is our independent practice physician section. And then our newest formed is our SPC, which is our Senior Physician Caucus. It's not quite a section yet, but it is operating very similarly. What does this mean? Each section does something a little bit different, but each section is focused on the primary goal of that population of members. Each of them have a group of leaders who have raised their hand to volunteer and lead that group. Some of them meet monthly, some of them meet quarterly. We always have an annual business meeting for each of these groups that happens a week or two prior to the House of Delegates that Dr. Cavalli was mentioning. And during that time, they talk about policy, they talk about updates, they talk about what's going to happen at that annual House of Delegates meeting. But prior to that and through the year, if there are any initiatives that are really specific to the early career section, they may take on an initiative that they focus on. And that may be something that ends up being rolled out to the entire membership. Last year, we did some very specific platform calls where we took the different sections and we found some of the topics that they were interested in, and we held a opportunity to connect on behalf of this section. So these are some sections. This is on our website. We can follow up with these slides as well. But these are opportunities for you to get involved. Maybe you're not quite ready for a leadership position, but you really want to be more involved. So in addition to that county component or that local component of your membership, you've got these, and there is no extra charge. There is no extra action other than to show up. And so again, similarly to the Connect with Me for the board members, we've got this for each section has a board member that is specific to that section. You can, again, choose to reach out to me, or you can connect with the board member, and that will in turn come to me, and we can get you involved on a section level too. So that was a really great segue, Dr. Cavalli. Thank you. That was a good segue, and this was a slide that we were planning on sharing down the road anyways, because, you know, similarly to what our leaders are looking for, we as the membership team are always looking to engage. And sometimes that engagement is in meetings similar to this, because we may gain. I've written a couple notes down of things that have been said or chatted that I want to follow up on, that I may be able to, you know, gain some information, share it with our leadership as we move forward. It also helps us from a perspective of what resources does PA Med need to work on? What do we need to take away? What do we need to have more of? And all of those initiatives and all of those tasks come out of the conversations that we get to have with our members. And sometimes it's in calls like this. Sometimes it's out in the field when we come out and visit you and you're lucky enough to see us in your office. So definitely keep this in mind. So thank you for allowing me to put this slide up. I certainly don't want to take away anyone else's opportunity to talk. Let me see. There is another
There's
chat.
another chat in there that I think is very timely. You know, I'm going to say are very open to, what should we say, blue sky type of discussions about what are other areas we should focus on. So I see there's a question here from a pediatrician. Absolutely, we are open and want to know about what physicians need to make their practice better. Certainly we don't have task force for every single issue that there is, but if we hear from physicians that this is something that's needed, you know, there was not a quote private equity task force that didn't happen. But when I went into this leadership position, I said, this is important to me. I'm going to start an initiative on this. And PA Med was right there to back me on that. And they said, yes, this is a valuable issue. So sometimes it's as much as reaching out, making your case why this is so important for physicians. And if we do that, if you do that, then PA Med, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear what is important to you as physicians that we can help you with. So if you have an issue, outline what it is. I mean, I basically presented the case. Here is the problem. Here's why this is important to me. And now we're fully on board on trying to do something about this. Another year with Dr. Sandal, Kristen it was emergency room overcrowding. I mean, she did a wonderful job last year on that issue. We looked at the issue of restrictive covenants. There's legislation went through. It didn't go far enough, but it actually did go through. So when these issues are brought to us, absolutely, we want to hear all of them and what's important to physicians. That's what PA Med does. It's there for us.
I often say when I am out in the field or at a speaking engagement, I often say that it is our members who plant the seed, and our board nurtures that seed and gives it its food and its nourishment, and then staff helps it grow, and then it goes back to the members and it helps it flourish. And so planting that seed, I wrote that down. I can get you connected. But that is similar to, and we don't often talk in detail about the House of Delegates on these calls, but to Dr. Cavalli's point, our House of Delegates is where our members get to submit a resolution or an idea. And some people don't talk in the language that we talk in. So you submit your idea in writing and the membership gets to vote on it and the board gets to take action on it and the staff gets to bring it to fruition. And then the board brings it back and says, here's where we're at. And that's where all of our ideas come to be. So by all means, utilize your staff and your leaders as the opportunity to plant your seed or give your information so that we can in turn figure out what to do. And maybe the timing isn't perfect. Maybe the timing is ideal, but there's always going to be a way to find you another resource if we're not the right resource. So I encourage these types of conversations, and I'm excited to see that people are bringing up some good points and looking to share some of the things that they're facing.
Well, just one more to add, Janet. So regarding the pediatric issue and the vaccine hesitancy, I think you kind of stole my words about the resolution, but there's another option for a pediatrician like you, Mavis, is there is a pediatric trustee on the board, and you can certainly reach out to that person who represents your specialty and certainly formulate your resolution. And the window for the resolution submission has already been opened, I believe, or will soon open. So you have plenty of time to write up your resolution and submit. So that would be the best way to actually kind of put your idea or your concern into the open discussion.
I actually think that just about a week or two ago, we had a media request for a discussion of that exact issue on vaccine hesitancy. I think Dr. Leskanen fielded that one. I remember telling Mila, who's our media person, who is, would be someone who deals with this and can speak with this. And I believe he did that media outreach. So we often do get these media requests. Well, great. There we go.
And as we were talking, one of the things that I'm not an expert in everything that we do. I am a membership expert. So oftentimes I don't have all the information, but I know where to find it. And this is something that I actually just saw yesterday when I was looking for something. But we have found great value in some of our FAQs, in some of our resource pages. And this was just recently added. And this is
and there he is. That's what I was talking about. I said, let's get him to do that. He knows about this.
Absolutely. And so
Yes.
in follow-up, this is what she was referring to.
That's
And
it.
from that, so there's a couple different clips. There's definitely some links, and that's something that we do frequently is we link to other experts and we link to other organizations because we know, just like you, we can't always do it alone. We need to have the support and the collaboration of other individuals and groups. But we've got this resource that is now on our webpage that talks about, different things with vaccines. It has some of those press releases. So always look to our website. If you are someone who is interested in some of the advocacy or issues that you think PA Med should do something about this, you can use the search field. And if you don't mind, I'm going to pause really quick and show you how to get to the Connect Me just because I'm on our website. So when you are on our main page, if you go to About PA Med and you scroll down to Board of Trustees, this is what we were referring to. So here's that opportunity to lead. So I'm looking to do something, I don't know what, but I'm going to put in here what it is that I'm interested in doing. And this is where staff will be in touch with you about how you might be able to connect with a section, with a group, with a leader, what have you. And then this is the board listing. So, if you wanted to send a message to our president, you simply click Connect with Me. and it will take you to an opportunity to write her an email. You can see it's very easy once you know what you're looking for to see. Maybe it's the speaker that you want to talk to. Maybe it's a district trustee that you're looking for. Maybe you're not sure because you're new to Pennsylvania and you just started practicing in Blair County and you have no idea what district that is. So you go to Blair and it will show you that Dr. Rosamelia is your trustee from a district perspective. You can see her, you can connect with her, but maybe you don't really care about the local because you are someone who does telemedicine only and you want to become involved in the independent practice section. That will take you to their chair. And likewise, I don't really care about any of it. All I care about is what's happening in OBGYN. So you're going to click on that and you're going to find that Dr. Mantione is the trustee for the OBGYN group. So this has become very, very user-friendly. It hasn't always been, but in addition to that, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can do Be Heard. So some of the issues that we might be facing, some of the specific topics, you'll find information in that Be Heard. I wasn't planning on doing this, so I hope that this is interesting for folks, but you will see we have a task force on diversity. This is how you connect. This is our chair, and this is how you connect with him. You've got sections, you've got general inquiries, you've got membership questions that will take you to Avery and I. What's happening with the House of Delegates? Where are we at in the schedule? Because it is a year-long planning. So there is a lot in that section. And then also sorry for the scroll, also our board meetings are linked here. And right now we don't have one coming up, but once we're starting to take individuals who are interested in listening into the board meeting, you can click on this link when it's live. We will get an email and you'll get a link so that you can listen. You can't speak at the board meetings, but you're able to listen. What are my leaders talking about? What are the issues that they're facing and that they're focused on? And then finally, before I go off of this page, if you're interested in what the districts look like, this is one of my favorite graphics from PA Med because this outlines who are you aligned with. So if you are in Sullivan County, who does your trustee represent? If you look here, your trustee represents all of those counties that are encompassed in District 12. That's really the only time that districts are a big deal is when you're doing elections, you're electing your own leaders, or maybe you want to see, I want a leader to come and I'm looking to have an event that is going to include some other counties. Who does it make sense to reach out to? We get into some of these and some of them might not geographically make sense, but Allegheny is enormous, similar to Philadelphia. So they're in a district of themselves. But they've got some real close counties that are active and smaller that they oftentimes want to collaborate with. So we might have 2 trustees that go in. So utilizing these resources is a fantastic way. Our website is filled with a lot of information, but we also respect and understand that many physicians don't have time to look for the information. So you can reach out to us and we can send you the direct links as well. So thank you for that. I thought that it was relevant just based on some of the things that we talked about to share those opportunities. Okay, let's do a quick, just for a time check. We've got about 5 minutes left. We want to respect everyone's time, get you back in time for your patients. Does anyone have any additional questions for Dr. Lucas-Fame or even for Dr. Cavalli? I see somebody unmuted. Dr. Grimes, are you looking to speak? If you are, you're welcome to, and if you're not, that's okay too. Maybe not. Okay. Any closing remarks? We do have one additional slide, Avery, as we're waiting for any additional questions or remarks. If you would put the upcoming meeting slide up, that would be really helpful. And then by all means, if our leaders would like to share anything in closing, please do so. And we'll just share a couple of upcoming meetings that are coming up, and we welcome any questions from a membership perspective as well.
Yeah, I'll just close, by saying that, PA Med can be your voice. Please let your fellow physicians know that. It truly can. I liked the different comments that were there that you gave, and just want to say, tell your fellow physicians we are here. We can advocate with them. We want to hear from them. We have the organization. We have the ability, the infrastructure, for lack of a better word, to really make a difference, but we need your input. And together we can really, I do believe, make a difference. I have a very optimistic outlook on this. We just need more members and more of a voice. So let PA Med partner with you to get the message across.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I know that you're all practicing, or you're all busy. You all have things going on. It means a lot when you come to these calls, because it means that we have put somebody in front of you that you're interested, or a topic that you're interested in learning more about. We look forward to seeing any of you next month at our February Membership Matters call. We do this call the last Tuesday of every month is when it's scheduled, from 12 to 1. You are always welcome. There will, unless if there is a issue that is so large and ever changing, we will not do the same issue 2 months in a row, because we want you to come to more than one meeting, and we don't want it to be just one meeting. We also have a practice manager meeting coming up in 2 weeks. So for those of you who have your lead staff person in your office who is looking to gain some of the insight from our practice support team, our healthcare operations staff is extraordinary, and they help our physicians and their practices work through some of your coding and your billing, and your adding a new physician, a physician is retiring, anything that happens within the walls of your practice. Our practice relation, or it used to be called practice relation, our healthcare operations team is extraordinary. And again, you can get to them through our Contact Us now. You can get to them through Avery and myself, and we will get you connected to the appropriate staff. But they are having a meeting, which is a great opportunity for our administrators to gain those updates from PA Med, so that they don't have to read the website or read all of our updates. In addition to that, Avery, you can go ahead and change the slide. Avery's and my contact information is here. You'll receive it in your follow-up email. We welcome you to call us. We welcome you to email. If you're looking to have some type of meeting with all of the physicians in your practice, or maybe you're a multi-practice group and you're looking to have some type of a meeting with your office managers or your lead staff, you are welcome to call on us. We can come in and do resource updates and provide information. You are also welcome to help you find a speaker, and we can do that too. And because we went out of order, I want to go backwards really quick. I'm sorry, Avery, can you go back 3 slides to the award slide very, very, very quickly, because I still have you on the call. So I apologize. I get really excited about things though. We are in the process of accepting our annual awards. I would have been remiss by not including this very quick update. So the deadline for our annual awards is February 14th. So you still have a couple of weeks. We are accepting our top physicians under 40, our Distinguished Service Award, and our Community Volunteer Service Award nominations. All of that can be found if you do a quick search on our website that just says awards, it will take you there. In addition, and it's not on this slide, we on a regular basis, we do honor Everyday Heroes. That doesn't go on a schedule, and it's not an annual, so that nomination can be accepted at any time. And then also in honor of our upcoming 2025 Doctor's Day, we are currently accepting nominations for Doctor's Day, where it's just our way of taking the week of Doctor's Day and honoring our members for just being exceptional and for receiving a nomination from someone else. So I'm sorry that we went out of order, but I didn't want to forget to take a look at who's sitting next to you or who's down the hall. Maybe someone goes above and beyond and they deserve one of these awards, and we'd love to receive your nomination. So with that, I want to thank you. I know that Avery in the membership department with me. She wants to thank you as well. You will oftentimes get responses from one or the other of us when it comes to membership, and we are more than happy to help you moving forward. So if there's no additional questions, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you in the future, if not next month. And thanks for your time.